Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
$11 on a Thursday, and welcome inside The Lock Shop, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. Dusty with you. Hustle will be joining us briefly, and we got lots to get to. We obviously have to discuss this Shohei Ohtani interpreter issue, so we'll get into that as we continue to work our way through the show today. NHL Slate tonight. The madness is already underway. Duquesne, as Eric and I are calling them around the office. Duquesne with a lead on BYU right now. You can live bet all these games, of course, right over on Coolbet right now. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's kind of like you're a sick puppy, but you're just sitting here watching the numbers move on the live play board. NHL Slate tonight, as expected. Pretty big Thursday night schedule, and that's usually provides a decent opportunity for the old Nasty Chat to get on a little parlay as well. Jimmy Onishi says, let's bet on Ohtani punishment. Got to throw some of those odds out there. What a story. We'll get into that as well. Grey Cup futures, we kind of quickly hit on that at the end of a show a couple of shows ago, but we'll dive into that a little bit more here today as well. But lots to get to. Keyword for Vegas. On Edmonton Sports Talk, if you're listening on TuneIn or on iHeart or at edmontonsportstalk.com, or you're watching on YouTube here today. Keyword coming up around, probably dish it out around 11:30, 11:35, and we'll call somebody when Huss takes off for WST, which is coming up a little bit later on today. The Jets on the road against the Devils, and the Edmonton Oilers at home against the Buffalo Sabres. I'll put together a little EST parlay for that, and I know Huss will probably drop something similar over on Winnipeg Sports Talk a little bit later on. Let's bring in the man himself today. Huss, the madness is underway. Both of my first picks, nice starts, but there's still a long way to go in the tournament, and of course, even in these opening games.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny, Dusty. I've had a really busy morning. I was actually just in conversation with your coworker and pal, a friend of both of ours, TSN Marshall Ferguson.
From the Combine?
He's in the peg right here for the Combine. So we had a quick 15-minute chat or so, and was also talking to the man, and this is a tease for WST.
Okay.
With the most energy in the business, Steve Cooley.
Oh my God, Cooley.
Cooley is just the best. He is the best. So anyways, I've been sort of been busy for the last hour doing some things for the show. So I have not been paying attention as of yet to March Madness. And seeing right now, what do we got? We got Michigan State up on Mississippi State in the first half. And yes, Duquesne.
Duquesne.
17-10 over BYU. Game starting coming up at the bottom of the hour, the top of the hour, 1:45. May have to just fire off a few individual bets on this. I need to refamiliarize myself with my bracket. I mean, I was really throwing darts pretty much when you look at a few teams that you think might go far, but as far as these first couple rounds, it is fun. Although I did jump in on a bunch of the exclusives last night. I figured, as I mentioned on the show, for people that are less than maybe all in on the CBB schedule south of the border, kind of some fun things where you can follow a few teams. So I got in that over at the Coolbet exclusives, and I'm looking forward to talking both NHL tonight as well as Grey Cup odds, as I heard you mention as we came in. I first saw, I'm like, why are they trolling me with this picture of Cody Fajardo in the Alouettes jersey holding up the Grey Cup?
I'm guilty of that. I did that. Sorry, buddy.
That's right. We were.
Now the thumbnail does have Zach Collaros on it over on YouTube. So the big thumbnail has your boy Zach on there.
That is good. But so Combine's going on right now. But of course, when it comes to the Lock Shop, the main focus right now, NHL pucks, big night tonight of action, and the first full day of madness from south of the border. Should be fun.
Yeah. We had Joel DeBlanco on our show Wednesday. He's the kid who just got his Canadian. He's probably going to be a top 1 or 2, 3 pick And he was great. He was telling me that the Red Blacks were looking at signing him as an American last year. And then he's like, as he was meeting with them and talking to them, he's like, oh, I'm also Canadian. And they were like, oh, what? You're also Canadian? Do you have your paperwork? Like, he's just like, it was really funny. They obviously got really fired up. So now he's gone through the process and he'll be available at the draft. And that's somebody that I can't wait to see some of the combine results for. Because it's funny, because Stiggers had a great season last year in the CFL. Could end up getting drafted in the NFL. Then we got this guy who's been around like the USFL, the XFL, was on the Seahawks roster for a bit, now eligible for the CFL draft. So it's a lot of crossover here this year, Huss. It's wild.
I'll be honest. I mean, like, I think like most fans, like, I don't pay big time attention to the combine. I wouldn't call myself the CFL draftnik by any stretch of the imagination. But when you mention things like that, it just reminds us how quirky this league can be, but also rules and whatnot that guys can, be draft eligible in the CFL after already being on NFL rosters and playing professional football. So I'm here for it all. You know what? Before we get into, do you want to just quickly touch on these Grey Cup odds while we're talking?
Yeah, we might as well just bang that out right now. Why not?
Well, and while we bring this up, because this was something I talked more off the air to Marsh about. How big of an issue do the Toronto Argonauts have with their big investment at quarterback right now in Chad Kelly? I joke that what they should be doing at the combine when they talk to these young men about, what's expected of them as professionals moving forward into the next stages of their life, being good members of the team and of the community, is look at Chad Kelly, play a few of his Instagram lives and say, basically, don't do this, guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely concerning enough that I would not bet them at 3-1 right now. That's for sure. I'd probably stay away from there. I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know how this is going to be handled, Huss. I mean, there's a couple of things here. It's like you don't want to dictate everything the way your players act on like Instagram and stuff, but at the same time, you want to be careful about your brand, and when you've got a guy out there who's become one of the faces of the Canadian Football League, acting the way that he's acted, and then obviously what he's been accused of, and they're trying to sort that out right now. I mean, I don't know what happens.
Like, dude, it would be bad enough if a guy that was the MOP that, has tons of fans and, has the accolades and had this great season despite face planting when it mattered in the playoffs, was being an idiot or partying or whatever, doing stuff on Instagram Live. Yeah. It's a whole nother story when you're in the middle of the biggest offseason story in the Canadian Football League with some very serious allegations against you and potentially your team. I'm surprised they haven't changed his passwords, to be perfectly honest with you. And that guy needs to sit down, shut up, and hope and pray that whatever he's being accused of is not entirely as it actually happened. Because, like, I had Jeff Hamilton on, and I made a great point. This is going to be a real test of the teeth of the CFL policy towards, any sort of sexual, harassment, I guess it's being described as, and treatment of women. So all I know is that I'm definitely with you, 3-1 on the Argos, especially when you consider their offseason, the free agency. That is not a team that I think I'd be spending a lot of time.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised to see their numbers at where it's at, to be honest with you. And Huss, what do you think about like the Bombers as the Grey Cup favorite? I get it. They've been to 4 in a row. They should be good again. They kept some pretty important pieces. But at plus 235, seems like a pretty short number.
It is. But I think when it comes to betting in the Canadian Football League, with the amount of questions there are around the rest of the league, especially with the team like Toronto, I think people look at this offseason for the Bombers.
Yeah, the steadiness. Yeah.
Realize, and I mean, let's face it. I mean, Cody Fajardo had to put together an incredible game-winning drive in the last minute of the game, or the Bombers have won 3-1. And then everyone thought, well, okay, listen, the one thing is they're not going to be able to bring everybody back this year. And listen, they didn't bring everybody back, but Willie J's back, Stanley Bryant's back. Dalton Schoen and Brady Oliveira are back. I mean, the potential or rumored offseason exodus from Winnipeg was avoided, and their biggest and most important players are still here right now. So I get why they're the favorite. To me, and again, Winnipeg people, close your ears on this one. I'll still ride with the Bombers when we're making picks and whatnot, but I think you have to look at the BC Lions at 5-1.
I think it's my favorite play. It's my favorite play at this point from a value perspective. It has to be.
They're hosting the Grey Cup. They were so close to winning the West last year, and for the first time in 4 years, having the West final be in BC. And of course, the Bombers had that crazy comeback win in BC and made it happen, and then took care of business in Winnipeg in the cold against a team that normally plays in the Dome. I've got a hard time making a big case for any of the teams below BC, although Montreal, I mean, keep in mind, when these numbers came out last year, Montreal was where the Elks were. Although they were 19-1, not 20-1. So there's some hope for you fans in Edmonton right now. But I really think that BC is close to the Bombers. They've been getting closer over these last few years. The Bombers have lost a little bit. And I think BC is poised to be that team that, goes through some tough losses, but then takes that next step. I obviously hope that doesn't happen, but don't think for a minute we're sleeping on the BC Lions here in the peg right now. So if anything, I think that the Argos should be more like 4 or 5-1, especially with everything going on around them. I think that BC probably should be more like, call it 375, and the Bombers number probably more like 325.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. You just after you finished, I was just going to say, I think it should probably be the Bombers down around like 3-1, 350, the BC Lions at like 4-1, and then the Argos in that plus 450 to 5-1 range. That's how I would have viewed. I'm glad you laid it out like that, because that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, like a slight favorite based on, their history and the fact that they're still the defending champs in the West. But as I said, BC's no joke. And the fact that this is a Grey Cup year, that they realize the opportunity at hand. And I mean, if they can just build off what they did last season, they will be right there with Winnipeg. What about Saskatchewan?
Well, this is the other thing. I don't know if I'd have Calgary and Saskatchewan that much separated from where Edmonton's at, to be honest with you. I know Edmonton, they started awful last year, but they were a 500 team down the stretch. Calgary basically played like a 500 team the entire season. Their riders have gone through a coaching change. I think if you're comparing the Elks to the Riders and Stamps right now, if the Stamps and Riders are going to be at like plus 1150 and 12-1, I think the Elks should be where the Red Blacks are at 15-1. If you're comparing the three teams, I don't think there's that much separation as to what we're seeing on the odds as to actually on the field.
Well, and they've got two good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Which cannot be understated. I mean, the fact that they've got MBT in there, and we'll see how things shake out. But, I mean, I think Trey Ford is ready to continue to take another step forward in his career. And the fact that they're not just all in on that one guy or unproven players. And Bethel Thompson's had a lot of success in the Canadian Football League. And he comes back into a situation where he's going to have to perform if he's going to stay on the field right now. So I'm sort of with you. I think the Elks are probably undervalued. Now, again, we're just talking about to win the Grey Cup. And
yeah, we're not going to put a play on them at 20-1.
First is a big move and a big jump up, but I'm sort of with you. It will be fun when we start getting more props, like to win the division, to make the playoffs, those sort of things. We might want to jump in on some Elks props early on, because if their numbers for those sort of things are reflected similarly in their 20-1 longest shot to win the Grey Cup, I think there'll be some value on Edmonton, maybe to not necessarily win the whole thing. But I'm sort of with you. I mean, I can make an argument that they're right there with the Stamps or Calgary to be a playoff team at least. And it'll be interesting to see what the win totals are for those three and how they change when they get going. But Always fun to look at off.
I was going to say, it does feel nice to be talking about this, doesn't it? We love the CFL, so it's nice to get that talk in there. A couple other things to get to. First of all, just a quick look at what's happening over at the Madness. Michigan State is up 31-24 on Mississippi State at the half, and Duquesne still leading BYU, but it's tightening up a bit here. 24-20 right now. The 11th seed leading the 6th seed at the Valspar this morning. Aaron Baddeley and Adam Svensson just moving into a tie for the lead. The Canadian at 5 under. Mac Hughes is 4 under right now there as well, along with Brendan Todd and Killa Keith Mitchell, 4 under there. Justin Thomas is 3 under. Cam Young is 2 under. Adam Shank, who was one of my 66-1 plays, he's 2 under through 17 so far today. And a lot of the bigger boys have yet to kind of get off. Sam Burns finished even today. That's not great. He's T30 right now, with a lot of the groups still to come out behind him. So we'll see. A bunch more tee times coming up. I don't see any of the bigger names kind of falling off near the bottom so far. Like Gim is just about to tee off. Later on today, you'll get Jordan Spieth. That'll happen partway through the log shop today. So a few names still to come a little bit later on. Including, where's Nick Taylor at? He tees off at 11:34. So, and Xander's at 11:23.
The next hour right now. I mean, Taylor, who's in our partner parlay, is in there. You see Xander at 12:23. Brian Harmon, who was 1 shot back. Oh man, this is great. Kiz coming out of the broadcast booth and playing in the Valspar. Huge Kisner guy. He doesn't quite hit it long enough, I think, to contend. But, and look at this. 2 of my picks playing together in the same group, Minwoo Lee and the Gim Reaper. Hopefully they can really push each other with great opening rounds. But, and this little fun fact, Dusty, this is the one PGA Tour event course that I have actually played myself.
Really?
Yep.
What'd you
Back
shoot?
in the day, oh God, what did I shoot? I think I actually did break 100.
Really?
But again, I was playing white tees.
I'm
not playing from the tips. But it is wild, man. You get to the 16th at Copperhead, and they've got that big bronze snake statue, and it says, "Welcome to the snake pit. You are entering the most difficult final 3 finishing holes in golf." And they really play that up. Absolutely beautiful course. And the Innisbrook area, and I guess kind of compound where we stayed for 3 days was great. That was back in the good old days when the radio business was, a little different.
It was different.
Taking clients out, bringing some of the on-air guys to come down and rub shoulders and just have a good time in the cart and play some golf. It was a different time, a better time, but we're going to create our own time.
These times are good times. We're working towards really good times too. All right, it's Nielson and Huss. We got a keyword for this Vegas trip coming up in about 12 minutes. Full slate in the National Hockey League tonight that we're definitely going to get to. But Huss, it's not very big. We actually have a gambling story that we need to discuss. Have you dove into Ohtani's interpreter, and how do you think this plays out?
Well, listen, I'm a big Ohtani guy. Although can you imagine if he signed with the Jays and they were just about to start the home opener and they'd given him $600-700 million and this happened? Oh God. But my read of this is, we'll put it this way. I think everyone's spidey senses are tingling because the story has changed significantly from day 1 to day 2. First it was, Ohtani was bailing out his interpreter that had a bunch of gambling debts. And then it became, he stole $3 million from Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
So I really don't know what to believe. I mean, the other thing is there's a federal investigation into this illegal gambling racket.
That the guy owed the 4.5 to. Yeah.
Yeah. I can tell you one thing. There's not a lot of books, legal, illegal, anywhere that is just giving $4.5 million of credit to average interpreters. That I can guarantee you.
That's a good point.
So I mean, I don't know. I mean, the big thing is I mean, worst case scenario for baseball that they were betting on baseball
Yeah.
and it somehow tracked back to Shohei. And then
Can you imagine that? Ohtani banned from baseball? Like
the Pete Rose treatment?
Holy smokes.
But I will say this. I mean, from everything that I've read, as much as I love Ohtani and I like to give him the benefit of the doubt on this, there is a non-zero chance that it is something more nefarious that really does implicate him. So, I mean, the commissioner's office has to investigate it. I think there is the potential that he might get caught up in, maybe from a benevolent act, he might get caught up in something that costs him games this year. That, I mean, the Dodgers he could be out for 2 months, whatever. The Dodgers will be fine. They'll be in the playoffs and that'll be all that. But it is just an absolute stunner right now. And I think the entire world is watching this to see where things go from here. He didn't speak after the second game in Korea as part of the Korea series. Now, and by the way, season is on.
Yeah,
there are 2 games are in the books. We now get the next week or so before the games really start over here. But no one's going to be talking too much about opening day for the next few days. It is all going to be about Ohtani. I mean, what about you? What was your first reaction when you saw?
Well, first of all, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like Ohtani, this guy with an interpreter who he is around all the time. Like this dude is in the dugout with him. Like there is zero chance. And then I dove into the story a little bit on our show today. I've been reading a little bit more in between shows here and a few of the articles, and he got fired because of alleged theft. But then he's out there saying that, well, yeah, I went to Ohtani and said, I need $4.5 million, and he helped me out here. So I don't know what to believe. I'm looking at an article on Yahoo right now that says there's no implications from anyone that Ohtani was involved in the alleged gambling, and thus there are no indications that there will be any ramifications. Mizuhara, who is the interpreter, has been steadfast in saying the baseball star was not involved in the gambling, and Bo Bauer, who's the guy who's running the ring, said he had no contact with the player. But I mean, this is his right-hand guy. The fact that he would not have any sort of implication in this, I have a hard time believing that he was like, what? You gamble? Oh, you're in how much trouble? Okay, I'll help you, my friend. Like, you just can't believe that. That seems unrealistic. You're muted, Huss.
It is. They have a relationship that goes back to 2013, I believe, when Shohei was a young phenom for, I believe, the Nippon Ham Fighters, if I'm not mistaken. He's basically been making good money and traveling around in first class for the last
$300,000 to $500,000 a year just to interpret.
Yeah. And just basically to be Ohtani's best friend.
Yeah.
Which is one of the best, it's got to be one of the best jobs on the planet. So he screwed that up. There will be many an interpreter firing up a resume today, I'm sure, to get it to Shohei. But it is concerning, and for the Dodgers, mostly for Major League Baseball, because he is the golden child. Not what they want to be dealing with heading in to the beginning of the Major League Baseball season.
We're about 7 minutes away from a keyword for the chance to win a trip to Vegas. I mean, the best joke here at Edmonton today, I saw it on the Lock Shop Nasty Chat a little bit earlier, is that the interpreter had just been doubling down on Connor Brown anytime goals for the first 55 games of the season. And it's just like, oh, it's got to hit. It's got to hit this time. And it's just like, damn it, I'm down $4.5 million. This guy's got to score at some point. So that's a good one. I like that one. That was pretty well done. That's pretty good. Not bad at all. Here, you know what? Before we dive, we'll do the keyword at 11:30. But we got a busy slate in the National Hockey League. Huss, let's just hit on the National Hockey League last night. Minnesota Wild cost us. We got the puck line with the Dallas Stars, which was really nice. I've hit 7 of 8 in a row on the Coolbet hotline of the day on the Nielsen show. So we're rolling there. And Toronto, even Pete Greggy dropped that over 1.5 power play goals, and we hit that last night.
Yeah, I threw the knives in the group chat to Patty. Very sharp play by Pat yesterday. Although I did sort of chuckle. It was a power play goal with 3 minutes left to make it 7 or whatever it is. But hey, you know what? We bettors, we know it doesn't matter when it happens as long as it does. So listen, that was outstanding. But yeah, the Hartman, listen, you sent me that last night. I went to bed somewhat early because I would have stayed up if it wasn't 4-0 for the Kings.
Yeah.
And I thought that we were still in on it. But I'm like, well, if we were going to lose, better to just get pumped and be able to move on to the next day, which I did. But I woke up and saw this tweet from you going, "Hey, Huss, what's up with Dubois?" That was such a tough look for him. Now, I do get it. You're beating a team 6-0, and Ryan Hartman is an absolute rat, but he seemed to be engaging him for a while, and then all of a sudden, Hartman drops the gloves and start going at him. And one of the funniest comments from Kings, a Kings fan on Twitter, was that was the longest time Dubois had two hands on his stick in about a month. Because if you see him, he's always just kind of skating around with one hand on the stick, kind of not engaged.
But you like Winnipeg hates both these guys, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, put it this way, and we'll be talking. This will be a why not question of the day on the show today. Like, if they actually did fight, who would you be going for? I think it would be like 90% for Dubois. I mean, Ryan Hartman is public enemy number one here.
Yeah.
The Rat Hartman. He's the guy. But I will say this. He is, for his size, he's tough. And I almost respect Minnesota begrudgingly that when they're getting their asses kicked like they were last night, they don't just take it lying down. They actually show some spunk. They show some fight. And he did it last night. But, I mean, going through that game, I had already had one of my best friends is always like, anytime the Kings have a big game, he's always going to check out what Dubois did. And let's just say it wasn't much last night. It was, let's see the run for old Dubois. Zeros across the board, 16 penalty minutes, one hit, 14-10 on the ice, 1:47 of power play time. He's the biggest disappointment in the NHL this year. I don't think there's any question.
Yeah, that's a really good like trying to think off the top of my head who else, but you're right.
Tage Thompson in Buffalo has had a really underwhelming season, coming off 47 last year. But yeah, and the fact that this is something we touched on with Cooley, and the fact that apparently the Kings were shopping Dubois at the deadline, trying to get Linus Ullmark out of Boston, just speaks to how much buyer's remorse there is in LA right now.
Yeah, just a tad, eh?
A lot. But hey, a big win for LA when it comes to the standings. Minnesota was charging right now, and the Wild, costly loss. They're at 76 points with 70 games. Vegas has 2 games in hand and 3 points on them. And, of course, the Nashville Predators are at 84. The Kings are at 83 through 69. So they've got a little bit of a cushion. And, like, Vegas right now, I mean, Oiler fans had to have been loving that last night, because I think everyone in Edmonton, I'm sure, would rather play LA than Vegas in the first round. Right?
Yeah. We brought this up today because we're like, I guess we still view Vegas as opposed to Vegas, who's been the average hockey team for 3.5 months.
Vegas may look a little different in Game 83.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So it's really trending towards the Oilers and Kings, a familiar opponent, one that I think Oilers fans would be very confident in the Edmonton Oilers being able to get that job done. So. Big slate tonight though in the National Hockey League, and we'll get to it. Let me dish out the keyword, then we'll get into the NHL slate tonight. If you are listening on TuneIn or on iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, or you're watching on YouTube, all you have to do is text in this keyword. Another very lock shop perfect word today. Text in the keyword to 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. That'll get you in the mix for the EST flyaway to Vegas. Keyword 4 times per day right here on Edmonton Sports Talk for 2 nonstop flights, 3 nights accommodations, tickets to a Cirque show presented by Fly YEG and the LVCVA, nonstop flights to over 50 destinations. Your sports trip starts with a nonstop flight from Fly YEG. Visit flyyeg.com for more. Today's keyword is odds. 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 As in, Otani's interpreter was not good at reading the odds. ODDS. Text the word odds right now to 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Today's keyword is odds. Fire that over. We will call a qualifier in about 20 minutes here. And best of luck to everybody getting in the mix. Another opportunity to qualify coming up on two guys and a goalie here at noon today. Huss, no shortage of options for a little partner parlay tonight in the NHL.
Definitely not. By the way, we do have tip-off between the Blue Jays and the Zips. Creighton going up against Akron in the 3. I was surprised that Creighton was a 3 seed, to be honest. Well, let's get through the hockey then if we have time.
I was just going to say, I'm going to be watching that game because I got Creighton going to the Final Four. So I did read a couple places where they're like, oh, Akron might give them a little bit of a scare, but hopefully Creighton rolls there.
12.5-point favorites as we get into the game. And Duquesne up by 5 right now on BYU. And Michigan State looking good, up a dozen right now on Mississippi State into the second half. But yes, we do have a full slate of games tonight. You want to go through?
Yeah, I got the goalies right here. I can whip through the starting goalies here for everybody. Sure. Give us your plays. I see the nasty chat side. We've got Rod Z over there with some trends. We got some guys laying out their favorite plays as well. So we'll get to some of those as we work our way through this thing. I don't know if Jake's kicking around today, but if he is, he can probably snake some sort of nasty chat parlay there. Sorokin is confirmed for the Islanders tonight, going up against the Red Wings. It will be James Reimer in between the pipes for Detroit. Joel Hofer will start for St. Louis. Anton Forsberg listed as likely right now for the Ottawa Senators. He was in the starters net at the morning skate, so he will be going there. Jake Allen confirmed for the Devils. LB for the Jets tonight. Samuel Ersson, Philadelphia Flyers. Frederick Anderson right now listed as a starter for the Carolina Hurricanes. It will be Swayman between the pipes for the Bruins, likely at this point against Jonathan Quick of the New York Rangers. Lankinen for the Predators. Bobrovsky for the Panthers. What a game tonight. Nashville and Florida. I love that one. Stuart Skinner is confirmed to start for the Oilers tonight. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen likely for the Sabres there. Dostal unconfirmed at this point for the Ducks. Mrazek unconfirmed. Habs and Canucks tonight. Casey DeSmith and Samuel Montembeault, both unconfirmed. Vasilevsky and Blackwood. Grubauer unconfirmed. Logan Thompson will indeed start tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights. So a full slate, as most Thursdays are in the National Hockey League. Huss, that is a big one between the Preds and Panthers, though. I can't wait to see how the Preds hold up against Florida.
Is it ever? I mean, a month ago, do you think you'd be getting Florida at only minus 179 at home against the Preds? By the way, Winnipeggers will laugh at this. The Preds are trying their own whiteout tonight.
What?
Yeah. They're
it's in Florida, though.
Copyright.
It's in Florida.
Copyright infringement.
The game. Yeah.
Panthers.
Oh, the Panthers. Oh, you said the Preds. I was like, the Preds? What are you talking about?
Sorry.
Okay, the Panthers.
Yeah,
okay.
Panthers.
Man, why don't they just start throwing rats again, buddy? Just start throwing rats again. Just allow it, NHL. Let's go.
You know what? And they're doing student night tonight, and I did see you get tickets for $19 if you have a student card. Nicely done. You can go see this game, two of the top teams in the league, hottest teams in the league, for $19.
$19? You can't get a beer for $19 up here. Like, that's why I'm sure that includes free parking down there too to get them into the game.
Yeah. I didn't get many of the other details, but although, by the way, just a quick interesting note, totally not related to betting or what we're talking about right now, but it does involve ticketing. If you are in the Miami area at some point over the course of this next little while, the Marlins are selling all-you-can-eat seats starting at $52, and it's pretty good. Like, it includes chili dogs, nachos with cheese, burgers, popcorn, peanuts, cookies, sodas, and more are included. So it's not just like the popcorn and hot dogs. You just need to go Joey Chestnut. Plenty of other options. So if you're either able to get out and you want to sit through a Marlins game, You can do it while stuffing your face, starting at just $52.
Nielson and Huss with you here for the lock shop. That keyword today is odds. If you want to text it in, we'll call a qualifier at 11:50. Huss, I gotta get to. I mean, there's one thing that really jumps off the page. I think I've already seen it come up in the nasty chat today, and I know Vegas has been struggling, but they gotta get something done here at some point. The Kraken roll in at home. The Kraken are out of it. If Vegas can't beat Seattle tonight, I mean, I think we have to legitimately start wondering if they're going to get into the postseason, man. Like, they got to put together some dubs here at some point.
I'll tell you what, if the Wild had won last night, I think there would be more pressure on. The bottom line is someone needs to catch them, and they still do have a little bit of run. But yes, you're right. I mean, they've got 13 games or whatever to figure it out. Get a few guys back and get ready to, compete for the cup again and try and defend their title. I do like them tonight. I mean, minus 192 is
their regulation numbers minus 114.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's very juicy for a team that needs it, man. Like,
I can definitely get in on that. We've got some big favorites in the late games. Obviously, Tampa puck line. Good God, the Tampa puck line on the road is minus 2.5.
I know. I saw that.
And I think everyone saw what Nashville just did to the Sharks a couple days ago, putting up the 8 spot. So I don't know whether they get the 2.5 right now. Just out of curiosity, what's the 1.5? Minus 147. It might be a little more.
You can swallow that.
Doable.
Swallow that on a parlay if need be. Yeah.
Toilet bowl game, Blackhawks and Ducks. That's probably a stay away. Canucks big one against the big favorites against the Montreal Canadiens. The most interesting game tonight, Dusty, has to be the Islanders versus the Red Wings in what is pretty darn close to a loser leaves town match. Like, Detroit is in the final wild card spot right now. And they played 69 games. Islanders and Caps just behind them with 68. If the Islanders can win this game, they have lost 5 in a row after that 6-game winning streak. They would climb to within 1 point of Detroit and would have a game in hand. Not to mention the Philadelphia Flyers, with their win after benching their captain, are still at just 78 points. But I would suggest that if the Islanders lose this game, while there will still be 13 games left on the docket for them, this is the game that they just absolutely have to have. And I mean, the Detroit Red Wings have not been, they've won 2 of their last 3 after the 7-game losing streak. But again, a narrow home win over the Blue Jackets. 6-3 loss to the Penguins, and before that, a 4-1 win over the Jekyll and Hyde Sabres. I think I'm riding with the Islanders tonight, minus 110. This situation, Pat Roy's got to get them turned around. And as we said, this has happened once before. They did get a big win and then went on a bit of a run.
Pat Maroon's Bibbs says, let's go Red Wings. Larkin is back at home. Suck it, Isles. Yeah, I mean, I like the Islanders. I'm with you on that one. I also like the Carolina puck line tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers. Carolina has won 8 of 10, Huss. 7 of those wins, they've covered the puck line. They've won by 2 or more. Like they're cruising. They beat the Islanders 4-1. They beat the Sens 7-2. They won in that shootout, which they had to come from behind against Toronto. They beat Florida 4-0, put up 7 on Calgary, beat the Devils 4-2, beat the Habs 4-1, beat the Blue Jackets 4-2. It looks like their deadline pickups are fitting in nicely, and they've been absolutely rolling. The regulation number is minus 141, which is okay on a parlay, but I think I'd probably be okay with Carolina on the puck line there tonight against Philly too.
You know what? I could roll with that. A little plus money on the Carolina puck line at home against Philly. Also, the Jets are in New Jersey to take on the Devils. I know we don't often put our own teams.
Nice number, though, at minus 123, considering how the seasons have gone for these two teams.
Well, for sure. Toffoli and Miller coming back to New Jersey. I got to tell you, if WST parlay will very likely include a Tyler Toffoli goal tonight. So anyways, there's one for you if you want to get on it. St. Louis at Ottawa. St. Louis plus 110 is another, it's plus money that I like. Ottawa, again, we've talked plenty of Ottawa and how they're sort of just waiting for the finish line here. Very disappointing season. But St. Louis is pushing. They narrowly lost to Colorado 4-3 in the game that thought might be able to get them at home. But I do like St. Louis at that point, especially at that number plus 110, considering the way they played as of late and where the Ottawa Senators are. I thought the Blues might actually be favored in this game.
Well, yeah, St. Louis has won 4 of their last 5. Their only loss was that game against Colorado, their last game. Ottawa, on the other side, has just got pumped 6-2 by Boston. They lost 7-2 to Carolina. They had a 3-game winning streak, but it all required overtime or shootouts against the Islanders and then Columbus and Pittsburgh. And then prior to that, they lost 5 in a row. So I am with you on the St. Louis play tonight as well. So what's our 3-gamer here? What's the partner parlay? Where do we go? I like the Jets. I really like the Jets play. I know we don't usually throw these in there because we're all over on our own shows, but I do like that play. I like the Carolina play. I mean, there's a lot to like here.
We got a nice start to one as well with plus 110s on both of our first 2 picks. I mean, let's see what would happen if we threw Vegas money line on there with that. So the Vegas money line would take it to plus 571
to roll with the Canes at minus 1.5 and the Islanders.
And the Blues.
Oh, the Blues. Sorry, yeah, the Blues. I like the Blues more than the Islanders. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And the number's better. Because with that, we wouldn't even. And I mean, listen, the last time these 2 teams played, Vegas came back with 2 late goals to put it into overtime and to win.
That was a wild game. That was a great hockey game.
Yeah, it was. If we wanted to go Vegas in reg, it's up to plus 728.
Okay, 728. I don't mind that. Do you like Vegas in regulation? What's the number on them in regulation? Minus 114 or something. I was just gonna say, because for the parlay, what about Tampa on just a 1.5 at minus 147 against San Jose? Do you like that more?
Oh,
like for a parlay, that would push us to plus 641. So, I mean, we're almost looking at close to 7-1 once we get a little boost.
Hey, Dusty, hold on one sec, okay?
Yeah.
Just take these odds. I'll be right back.
All right. I bet you Huss has a sub getting dropped off. I love it. I love it when he gets a sub dropped off. Okay, your thoughts on this. So here's what we're looking at right now. We like St. Louis in Ottawa tonight, plus 110 on the money line. Carolina, I like at home tonight. They've been cruising. 7 of their last 8 wins would have covered this 1.5 against Philly, plus 110. And then we're trying to determine where we want to go for this third game. Tampa Bay minus 1.5 on the road against San Jose at minus 147 takes us to plus 641 before the boost, which I think is still a really good number. Let me just dive into this Tampa-San Jose matchup a little bit more. Yeah, okay, I thought Tampa has been scoring goals in bunches as of late. 5 on Vegas, 5 on Florida, 6 on the Rangers, and 7 on Philly. Like 6 goals on the Rangers, good team. 5 goals on Florida, good team. 5 goals against Florida. I mean, I don't know. I'm just laying it out here on Tampa. Their last 4 games, 7-0 over Philly, 6-3 over the Rangers, 5-3 over the Panthers, and 5-3 over Vegas. For them to just win by 2 against San Jose tonight at minus 147 to push this thing above 6-1, I mean, I think we have to go with that.
Dude, the boost might get us to 7-1.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Have been nice to us lately.
Yeah. So let's do that. Yeah, let's do that one. St. Louis. St. Louis, Carolina minus 1.5, and then Tampa Bay minus 1.5 at minus 147. That's good.
Yeah, we are good to go. We are good to go on that. So we'll get that over to Jake. And we'll pop that up in the exclusives. And as I say, it might be plus 690 or so, but the guys have been nice with the key will be I think, is to get it right when it comes out, because I think if they get a lot of action on it, that might come down to plus 675 or a little lower. So the early bird gets the worm and the best number when the partner parlay drops.
EST parlay is already up. The boys threw this up quickly, and it's plus 550 right now. You can snag it in the exclusive section over at Coolbet at coolbet.com. Obviously, the official betting partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. McDavid over 1.5 points tonight. The McDavid over 1.5 points was our Coolbet hotline of the day on the Nielson show. It's minus 128 for McDavid to get 2 points. This was passed along to us today, Huss. Buffalo Sabres are the only team in the league that McDavid does not have a 3-point game against. Just in case you want to sprinkle McDavid over 2.5 tonight. Just in case.
What is that number?
Plus, what was it?
Let's see here. Player points. It's only plus 275, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like only McDavid can have a number so low for a number that is actually so big. And I will be putting a WST parlay together. We're going to figure something else to add in with a Jet money line win at minus 123 and a homecoming goal for one Tyler Toffoli.
Gotta happen. I would think that happens. EST, McDavid over 1.5 points. Bouchard point. Zach Hyman with a goal. That'll give him a goal heading into the big battle against the Leafs on Saturday night. And the Oilers in regulation tonight. So McDavid over 1.5 points. Bouchard point. Hyman goal. Oilers in reg. It's online at plus 550 tonight. I love the busy nights in the NHL, man. There's just so many options. There's so much to do. Like, it's great.
Well, and two for us. I mean, with the Jets being on the East, we get the 6 o'clock start.
Yeah.
And then I can finish that up. And then obviously, I mean, we'll be paying attention for this partner parlay, hopefully still alive going into that late game, and just hoping the Lightning can light up the Sharks as they've been doing to pretty much everybody else lately.
Scores right now over in the Madness. It is at half. Duquesne's leading BYU by 8, 38-8 there. That would be an upset. Michigan State has a 14-point lead on Mississippi State. Nothing against Mississippi State, but it's just like Michigan State in the tournament. Got to take them to win a round or two, right, Huss? It was kind of an automatic play for me.
Yeah, I believe, I should look at my bracket to see exactly what I did for these games right off the
By the way, that Creighton game, it's 21-19 right now. So Akron is hanging around for the time being. There's still 11:39 left in the first there. So we'll see.
I see. We Yeah, no. I had Michigan. I have Michigan State beating number 1 North Carolina.
There you go. There you go. I like it. I like it.
Definitely need them right now. Hey, just before we go, you got any thoughts on the afternoon games? I wouldn't mind throwing a couple down here.
Let's see here. Let's see.
It's looking at, we got a 1 o'clock tip off in 10 minutes. Arizona is 20.5 point favorites over Long Beach State. And North Carolina, 25.5 point favorites over Wagner. Illinois, 10.5 over Morehead State. And Oregon, interestingly, Oregon's an 11 seed, I believe. South Carolina is the 6 seed, and yet Oregon is a 2.5 point favorite.
Yeah, there was a couple of spots like that where the lower seed was actually a favorite in these games. I mean, I did decide to roll with McNeese State as the upset of Gonzaga today. They're 7.5 point dogs. So if you think they're even going to keep it close, you could get on McNeese State at plus 7.5. NC State plus 4.5 against Texas Tech. I don't hate that. I know some people think Samford is going to give Kansas a bit of a push. That one's tip off later tonight. Samford is a 7.5 point dog there as well. And I was reading one article earlier today that said that Dayton was way overseeded and Nevada was underseeded. And Nevada is a 1.5 point favorite in that game. I think Nevada on the money line there at minus 118 might not be a bad play if you're looking for a game that gets rolling mid-afternoon today. It's funny when you look at these totals, Huss. It's like 133, 145, 134. The Long Beach, Arizona game is 163.5, and the spread is 20. So you're looking at like a 90 to 70 game. No, that would only be 90 to 70 put you around 160. So you're looking at like 92-71 type of game, which seems high scoring even for the tourney. So I might lean towards a little bit under the 163.5 in that one, especially if it's a full-blown Arizona runaway and they take some of their guys out.
When is Nebraska playing? That is, that's tomorrow. That's tomorrow. They have you seen this Japanese dude they've got playing for them?
No.
The Japanese Steph Curry?
No.
Oh, my God.
The Japanese Steph Curry? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yeah. He wears number 30. And he just chucks it from everywhere, and it always goes in. I saw an interview with him. Pat McAfee put a video out. They go, how did we not know about this guy? And then went into him. So I'm fully in on Nebraska, at least in that first game. But I do need to figure this out because as I go to Coolbet right now, I realize that now my first round play, I have the opportunity for that 20% multiplier. So I want to use that on the best bet. I don't mind what you were saying about who was the overseeded team that you were just mentioning?
Nevada, yeah.
They were underseeded.
Well, no, Dayton was the overseeded team. Nevada was the underseeded team, and they're the slight favorite there, yeah.
So maybe we throw Nevada money line in. Now, do I get greedy and try to parlay it with like Arizona to cover 20.5 to roll in the first round?
I don't know. I like Drake against Washington State. In fact, YouTube Trev has Drake winning the entire tournament in his bracket because he likes Drake. That's how he filled it out. I was like, you're killing me, dude. You're absolutely killing me. So we'll see how that works out. Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up here, Huss. Cooley, Marsh, anything else? What else is going on?
Cooley, Marsh, Scott Billick from the Sun, Ellen Feinberg. And we're going to get into a little bit of golf talk, a little bit of NFL, and get ready for him. For any viewers that are familiar with Feinberg's work on the Mayo Media Network, the voting is coming to an end for the most insane member of the show. And tonight on YouTube at 7:00, there will be a televised debate between Feinberg and Tim Anderson for who is the most insane. So we will touch on that as well. Some laughs at the end of the program, pretty much guaranteed. But all right, well, I'm going to roll with Nevada. Maybe I just make a single bet. The other option is to jump on. I'm invested in Kansas. They're 7.5 point favorites against somebody called Samford. Samford and Son. So I don't know. But you know what? Maybe I think we'll just go Nevada, Wolfpack, Nevada, Reno, Wolfpack this afternoon. Use that beautiful 20% multiplier and hopefully go 2 for 2 on the multiplier because that 20% is significant.
That's a big bump.
I know often we'll see the 5% that's nice. And if you put a half decent bet on it, it will work. So yeah, we'll make that happen. But let's get this. Let's get our exclusive up right now. And right now, you can still get the ride with Dusty, by the way. Vermont plus 11.5, James Madison plus 5.5, FAU money line, and Samford, who we just talked about, plus 8.5. That's at plus 1150 now. I'm not sure how that changed from earlier, but that's there right now. And I imagine shortly we'll have the our lock shop partner parlay up for the day.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you tomorrow, man.
Sounds good. Fellas, enjoy the madness and a big night in the National Hockey League.
There you go. That is Huss with Winnipeg Sports Talk. We are going to a qualifier here for this trip to Vegas. Zacticum, who do we got, buddy?
We got Christian on the line.
All right, Christian. Let's bring in Christian. Christian, congratulations, buddy. You are one step closer to winning a trip for 2, nonstop flights, 3 nights accommodations, tickets to a Cirque show, courtesy EST and Fly YEG. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, have you been to Vegas?
I have. I actually took the flight down with you.
Oh, really? You're on our flight?
Yeah, I talked to you after the security line there.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, you were with a crew of guys, weren't you?
Yeah, it was my family, my dad and my nephew and my brother.
Oh, did you guys have a good time?
Going down.
Yeah.
Oh, we did. It was awesome. It would have been awesome to come back with a story of us tying the record, but
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool,
It is.
actually. I can't imagine, like, I'll get to the point one day where I go to Vegas, like, with Marshall when he's, like, 21. That'll be insane. That'll blow my mind. All right, so who do you bring back if it's just you and one more? Who do you take back with you?
well, I'm going to take my buddy actually. Yeah, I want to take my wife, but she won't leave our kids. So
Yeah.
I'll bring my buddy.
I have one of those at home, too. She does not like leaving the kids at all. All right, man. Well, best of luck. You're one step closer.
Awesome, thanks, man.
All right, congratulations to Christian. He is in the mix. He was just in Vegas the Super Bowl week when we were down there on the same flight. I remember talking to those guys at security before we took off there. That was a good trip. It was a real fun trip. I can't wait to go back either. That'd be real fun. We're going to have another chance, final chance to qualify today coming up here on the Two Guys and a Goalie. Tommy Gazzola will have that pregame show at 5:30 tonight from Hudson's on White Ave. So swing on by White Ave. Hit up Hudson's with Tommy G for the Oilers and the Sabres tonight. That is going to do it for the lock shop today. Thank you very much for popping by. Good luck tonight. Let's hop on that EST parlay. I like it. McDavid, he's getting 2 points tonight. You just need a Hyman goal and a Bouchard point. And then the Oilers, of course, to win in regulation. Find that over on the exclusives page. Our lock shop partner parlay will pop up there soon as well. Two Guys and a Goalie just around the corner. If you're listening on iHeart or on TuneIn or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, quick dose of Whale and the Wolf. And then Two Guys and Goalie. Gage, you're in studio with me. We will connect with Cass and we'll get you ready for the Oilers and the Sabres tonight. Should be a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us on the lock shop today. Good luck tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow.